Well, listen, thank you so much for taking the time to hop on today. We were glad to get some time with you to talk about this song, which is doing so good. But first, I have to tell you, I was having so much FOMO about missing the Nashville shows because we were in Vegas for Blake's residency. And then I come home and like still to this day, my entire TikTok feed is like you and Luke Combs just like melting the house down at Bridgestone. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. We had both nights were good, so it was sold out in the round, meaning we sold all the seats behind the stage too. So that was kind of a monumental thing for me in the first place. But yeah, we had Marcus King came on for our encore the first night. Randy Hauser came on. Second night, Ian Munsick jumped up on stage with us. Carrie jumped up on stage with us. And obviously, me and Luke wound up shotgunning beers at the end of the set. I didn't know that was a thing until it happened. So,
And had you ever seen him shotgun a beer at a
oh
tap?
yeah, I've been on tour with him and I've seen it happen. I just didn't think like it. We were really going to do it. We joked about it, and then I'm like, oh crap, he smoked me.
He is when he shotguns a beer, it like defies science and physics to me. Like I'm like, where does the liquid go?
I know.
And I'm sure that you have shotgunned plenty of beers and consider yourself very good at it.
Not like that. Not like that. He took one gulp and it was gone.
It
If you
really
watch
is.
the video, I have to stop him. Like, wait on me, wait on me.
Oh my gosh, that is too funny. And then I was watching something on socials. I feel like, you mentioned that you hope to at some point, you and Luke have talked about doing a collaboration. And then he comes out on stage. So I'm like, is Kojo like breadcrumbing us right now? What's happening?
Maybe, maybe. I'm going in this year to go record a new album, and there's a certain song that I'm pretty certain we're kind of playing with it. We're going back and forth, but I mean, it could be in the works. I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay, plead the fifth. We will allow that. That would be awesome. I know that everybody would be very excited. I mean, just the energy between the two of you singing Beer Never Broke My Heart. I was like, oh my God, how has this not happened?
Oh, we knew it was going to be a. I was like, because I said, man, you want to come out and do the encore with me? And this was weeks before the show, and he said, yeah. Like, what are we going to play? And I was like, well, we should record that freaking duet. We could have done that. And we were going back and forth, and then I just kind of hit me. I was like, why don't we just do one of your songs? Like, let's just go burn it down with Beer Never Broke My Heart. Like, it's a massive song, and it's fun. And I promise you, all my fans know it. So it was a
Uh-huh.
no brainer.
That's amazing. And then I feel like bringing Carrie out was a huge flex. Like I go to a lot of shows, a lot of people bring people out. Carrie does not very often do that. So that had to be like an awesome moment.
Oh, it was, and so it was great because the first night we used the video wall content. So when we started the song, everybody was really like, "She's gonna come out," and then she didn't. So for the second night when she did, it was like it was deafening. Like I couldn't hear anything we were singing because the crowd was so loud. So she definitely felt loved, and I thought it was really gracious of her to come out and do that. I think you know, no matter how busy somebody is, like when you recognize that song has got huge. So I think that she knows that, and we're just maintain a good friend relationship of like, anytime you need me to come out, you call me. It
That's
was supposed. It was
amazing.
Reba. I called Reba, and she was filming in L.A. I called Ronnie Dunn, and those guys were him and Kix were rehearsing for a tour. Um, I don't know where Jelly Roll's at. Somebody said he threw his phone in the river, so I haven't talked to him. Um, there's all kinds of people that I called that I was like, this is like we can't get anybody to come out, and then for Carrie and Luke and Ian and all and Randy and Marcus King and all those guys to come out, that was really special.
That's incredible. Talk about what it's been like working with Carrie on this song. Cause we talked right before it could come out, but at that point you guys hadn't even like been able to be together to shoot the music video and stuff. So now that you guys have gotten to spend some time together, how's that been?
She's great. She's a true professional. Um, it's one of those deals where I think she is further along in her career where she gets tugged in so many different directions that it makes it even more special that she's going to take time to do all this stuff. Like for instance, when we did the music video, she stayed late that day and did the video content for me to have on my wall. And, I know from a management perspective, there's not a whole lot of back and forth of, well, if she's going to do this, we need that. And if she's going to do that, it's just been kind of like, yeah, let us figure out a time frame. And when it works for Carrie, she's going to come in and knock it out. And, she's like me, like just a normal person, like we don't drink the Kool-Aid. We're not caught up in the career and the fame and all that stuff. It's just like very, very down to earth, normal people raising families and playing the music that we want to play. So I think it's great. And her voice sounds incredible on this song. It's kind of a different kind of a different Carrie than what we're getting used to hearing. And I think it's amazing.
Right. And I mean, like you said, she's like such a normal, unaffected by fame person, but also she's got this voice of an angel. Like I'm sure you've seen the video from the inauguration. You're just like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. All the, like, I guess what the sound system wasn't working or something. She said, I got this. I'll just take this by myself. I'm like, that was a baller move. Like, she's a gangster.
Yeah, she did an amazing job. What else have been some of the highlights for you so far on the Leather Deluxe tour?
The beginning of the year has been a little bit weird for me. I tried to get some new ear capsules shot, and where they mold for your ears, and we did them digitally this time. They absolutely did not fit, to the point where my jaw hurt, like had a migraine. It was rough. And then so we went back to an old set of ears. We did mold impressions, like foam mold impressions, the other day to try to get upgraded. As we grow older, our ear canals change, especially men. Like, your nose gets bigger, your ears get weird, and like, it's just part of being a guy. Well, your ear canals change too, so my ears haven't been fitting right, which has caused like a little bit of a sound issue. Trying different mic capsules. We've had a new soundboard that we really like, that once we got it into arenas, it kind of affected some things. So like, I'll say for the first 6 shows of the year, it's been a pretty intense troubleshooting. Let's keep track of the things that are going on each night. And it's been very much like a football game. We're going to go in, going to get beat up a little bit, but we still won. Nobody else knew the difference. But then the next day, we're right back at practice going, hey, what happened? Let's fix these issues. And now we're in the tour where I'm like, okay, now it's easy. Like today, I'm talking to you guys. I didn't even go to sound check. I'm not going to go to sound check tomorrow. We're running on full cylinders. And the new set list is very interesting, because we had songs that we were playing off of Leather, and now we've got an opportunity to kind of implement some of those songs from Leather Deluxe. And it's really interesting to go out and start a song like How Do You Sleep at Night? And before I ever sing a word, they're going crazy. And I'm like, they know it. They know the song.
Such a
That's
good
pretty
feeling as an artist. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That makes me so happy to hear. And then I also know you're going to be playing dates like around the globe. Is there anywhere that you're headed that's like always been on your bucket list that you're so excited to see?
Well, so a couple of years ago, we had gone with Luke down to Australia and New Zealand. So we'd already kind of laid the groundwork there. And I took like the old school Texas independent approach with that kind of stuff. Look, we're going to go over and play for a month. We're not really going to make anything. It's not going to cost us anything, but we're not making anything except for fans. So you go put out the time and the effort to do so. That way, 2 years later, I get the opportunity to go back and play sold out shows as a headliner there. I will say that one of the coolest things, like, I've always wanted to go to Ireland. We're kicking off the tour over there in Belfast. They said that's the first time that Belfast, Ireland, at that festival for country music artists has ever sold out. And I'm like blown away, because it's a place I've always wanted to go. And here we are playing this huge sold out show. So it's Belfast, Glasgow, Scotland, London, England. Then we go to Australia, and then we wind up, I think there's 5 shows in Australia. 5 shows in Australia. I'm getting to go in between some shows with some friends of mine over there that I met last time, and do a little rodeo and a team roping.
Fun.
Then we go to New Zealand and wrap it up, come home, and I ain't leaving my house the entire month of April.
I'm sure that you're not. It makes me happy to hear that you're going to get to like get out and do some activities with people you've met. Like I've always thought before, I'm like, I'm more shocked that like people doing those, like the C2C tours, like going to New Zealand and Australia aren't doing like really cool, like hunting trips and stuff. I'm sure that's hard to coordinate at the same time, but glad to hear that you're going to get out and do some stuff.
Yeah, it is hard to coordinate. Like, it's literally we play the show. I fly in from London. We play the show. The next day I fly out to get picked up to rope the next day, to fly in the next day to play the next show. So, I mean, if you want to do it, you got to make time for it. The only other way that it would be feasible would be like to stay for 2 months. Well, that's stretching the tour out over 2 months. Like, my wife, Brandy's going to come over with me for Ireland, Scotland, and London. And we're going to stay 1 extra day with a few friends of ours. And she was like, we should take the girls and go do this. We should take the girls and go do that. Well, then once we look at the schedule, she's like, holy cow, like there's zero time. It's literally play, show, fly, sleep, play, show, fly, sleep. I mean, it is what it is. And like I told her, I said, look, if you guys want to go back and do all this, we'll just take off a month and the 4 of us will fly over and we won't have any shows.
Yeah, because otherwise, I mean, you're going to be so tired. It's going to be hard for you. Yeah, I say all the time, I don't know how you guys handle these schedules. I would have a meltdown. Like I wouldn't be able to handle it, but
we have meltdowns too.
Right. I'm sure. I'm sure. All right. So lots of great things obviously happening in the world of Cody Johnson, country music superstar. What is new in the world of Cody Johnson, dad and husband? How are the girls?
I'm going to get to coach softball this year. It's kind of working out with my schedule. Like this year, I think we're only playing 55 shows, which is incredible for me because that means that most of the time I'm like, okay, like for instance, tomorrow night we're in Cincinnati, Ohio. We'll ride the bus back to Nashville. I'll get on the jet at like 11:30. I'll be home by like 2:30 in the afternoon.
Oh.
Instead of in years past of really having to be out on the road and really hump it, I'm fortunate enough to be able to afford to fly back home. Uh, and especially like on a private jet, it gets there so much faster and it's so much less stressful, and I can actually get rested before I go home. So
Hmm.
like on a normal night, if I play on Saturday night, we're off stage at 11. We're usually in the air by like 12:30. I'm home by like 4:30 in the morning. It gives me in time to rest, to get my kids up, and to cook breakfast and go to church on a Sunday like a normal person does.
Hmm.
And being able to have that time Monday through Thursday, it's a bit of a sacrifice because generally when I land on a Friday, and most Saturdays too, from the time I land to the time I take off again, it's solid work. It's
Yeah.
it's
So running the ranch is a
interviews or it's
lot.
rehearsal, it's rehearsals, it's all this stuff. It's solid work whenever I get to work, and that's something that most people spread across the week. But I get to turn it off and go home. Like literally last night before I tucked my kids in bed. We were down at the barn bottle feeding the calf that was his mom didn't take him, and so we're playing Mr. Mom out there in the barn. And yesterday we were out tagging new calves that needed ear tags to identify their moms and all that stuff, and just normal everyday stuff. And it's really fun, and it's also a blessing because like right now, for the past year, my wife and I have been out of our home, and our kids have been out of the home because we've had mold remediation going on, and we basically had to tear everything down, and now we're building it back. And so we're living in a trailer house out by my rodeo arena, my barn, and being able to be there with my wife, making those decisions about the contractors and the building process and picking the wall and the tile and all that stuff. Like it's important for me to be home. So everything happens for a reason, and I really feel blessed to be able to do that.
For sure. Are the girls excited that you're going to be coaching softball?
Yeah, they're pretty excited. Well, so I'm going to be helping coach Corey, but Clara has moved up to kid pitch instead of coach pitch, and so like that's a whole different leagues. But the way it works out, I'm going to get to be there for both. And her coaches don't know it yet, but usually when I go to softball games, I get kind of mobbed, and I wind up in the dugout anyway. So like uniform or not, I'm going to be helping coach.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that'll be so much fun. It's funny because I talked to Justin more about this and I've asked him to like as a coach then how do you deal with like the parents who are a little too involved sometimes?
You gotta put your coaching hat on. Like
Yeah.
I definitely argued with a umpire last year over a horrible call, and I didn't get out of line. I just like, look, man, and I know that was a horrible call. I'm going to leave you alone. I'm going to take my girls over and get them some Gatorade. And but just I want you to know, I think that call was horse crap.
Which is yeah, best way you can handle that.
Yeah,
Which you mentioned your wife Brandy. I don't think I've ever asked you this, but as she is the muse of so many of your songs, how did you guys actually meet?
we met in a bar.
Did you? Classic love story.
I was like king of that bar. I was like super local famous, and like I had my local famous cocky going,
Oh, yeah.
and she came in the bar with somebody else, and I saw her, and I knew the guy she was with, so I went over to talk to him and basically talked to her, and I said, do you mind if I dance with her? And he's like, oh no, man, it's cool, dude. Dance with Cody Johnson. And I was like, hey, you're not going to be with that guy. Like, that's not going to work. Like, she's like, who do you think you are? I was like, well, here's the deal. I'm going to go to work, and I'm going to get big in country music, no matter how long it takes. I was like, I want to be George Strait and you can be Norma. I was like, she's like, so you're saying we're getting married? I was like, yes, we need to get married. So after that dance, I walked back over to my friends with her in front of him and say, hey, everybody, I want to introduce you to my wife. This is Brandy Johnson. She said, hi, how do you do? And we were joking, but that night I got her phone number, and then a week later she moved in, and a year later we were engaged, and a year later we got married. So
How is that not a movie?
I don't know if you watch the video for the painter, that's kind of what it is. They
Yeah.
tried they tried to tell the story, but yeah, I basically said, Yeah, that's she's not with you, buddy. You didn't
Talk
know it,
about
but
like,
you brought my
oh,
wife
when
to the bar
you
tonight.
know moment.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Something else I saw you talk about on Instagram, you mentioned you were going back on your carnivore diet. Is this
Yes.
something that you do? Talk about this.
Well, I had been on the carnivore diet, basically carnivore 2.0. It's basically meat, fruit, cheese, and eggs, and like honey. So the basis of a carnivore 2.0, they call it, is like if you went out into the wild, what could you eat? Well, if you see an apple hanging on a tree, you can eat that. You can eat the honeycomb from the bee because it was produced. You can eat the honey from that. If you find the chicken, you can either eat the chicken or you can eat the eggs that come from the chicken. If you have the cow, you can either eat the cow or you can make milk and cheese from the cow. Just things that you wouldn't have to plant in the ground and cultivate. Things that are gluten free, like so. I'm not eating any bread, um, anything like that. And it sucks because whenever your daughter wants to go to Texas Roadhouse for a birthday party, and you go in and they lay those dadgum cinnamon biscuit roll things in front of you and your mouth's drooling. Like I would kill somebody for some biscuits and gravy right now.
Oh, I
But
bet.
I'm 38, man. I mean, I'm 38 years old. I've been doing this for 20 years. Um, I've been on it for 4 months and been working out really good and saw some tremendous health improvements, tremendous body improvements, mental clarity. And I've been working out every day with my trainer, Doug Champion. It's Champion Living and Fitness. And in October, man, life just got to be too much. I had a cowboy trip that I do every year called the Teos Vaqueros, and that was right before my big roping event, and that was right before we had this and this and this and this, and then there's the holidays, and you got to travel here and you got to travel there, and I just got off track, and I started to notice like I didn't like the way I looked in the mirror, and I felt really fatigued and really tired, and like I just felt cloudy in my mind, and so when the new year came around, I said, all right, I've had enough, and for me, like as a guy, it's the dad tire thing, and it's the under here, and but I'm really starting to see. I was asking my security guard Jason out here on the road. I said, it's weird. Like I ate an omelet this morning with some fruit at like 11 o'clock, and I'm force feeding myself food. Like I don't like I'm not hungry, but I know that I need to eat dinner before I go play the show to have the fuel and the energy. Like what's up with that? And he said it's because you're turning the corner. You're in a state of ketosis where
Mm.
your body is using that fuel and it's burning the fat. So uh, Monday morning I'll be back in the gym Monday through Thursday. Another benefit of being home, I have a gym at my place. And, not trying to be the biggest, swollest guy out there. I just want to stay healthy and stay fit because I noticed towards the end of the year I was getting out of breath during the set and I was running around. I'm like, no, 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 no. I will go get on a bike for 20 minutes, 30 seconds as hard as you can go, 30 seconds rest. And in that 30 seconds hard, I'll sing and fill my lungs and control my breathing. And I've seen a really big result of it on stage.
That's amazing. I'm so glad to hear that. And like that, I feel like everybody reaches a point, I think, in their touring career where they're like, okay, I've got to get it together. You can't be like out partying on the road. You really got to take care of your body.
Right.
Otherwise, like your voice suffers, like you said. So that's really hard. Last thing I want to ask you before we wrap up, you talked a little bit about last fall about how you had to, pass up a role on Yellowstone because the schedules couldn't line up and stuff. And I know that you said you've been talking to Taylor Sheridan, but is that something that's still like pretty high on your like bucket list of things you want to get accomplished?
It is. And it's one of those things that like when you get to the point in your career where you're playing 50 shows a year instead of 150 or 200 shows a year, it's a little easier to schedule. I know that like my manager mentioned that Tim McGraw had reached out for a Western that he's doing in the future. And he said, I think this could be feasible because we have years to plan this out. We can get months and years out in advance for what this would entail. The only reason I haven't been able to do anything is because it's been not short notice, but short enough notice for me. That's a year and a half out booking. Like we're already booking well into 2026 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't want to take that away from my fans. But like, sorry, I had to go record this movie. It just kind of seems a little bit of like a rock star move.
Yeah.
Um, but acting is something that I would really like to do. I acted in high school, got some best actor awards and stuff like that. And
What did you act in high school?
I was in theater in high school.
You were? So was I. Wait, I love to hear that. I feel
Yeah,
like
I
the
was in I
thespian
was in
crowd is
one
like
act
the best
play.
crowd. You what?
I was in one act play,
What was it?
Confederate Letters.
I don't know
It
that
was a
one.
Civil War play. And
Oh
I
my
was
God.
like, no, I'm completely against it. That sounds like a bunch of sissies in there. And they were like, oh, well, here's the girl, and there is a kissing part. And I was like, I'm 100% in.
Always what it is.
Yeah.
That's
Acting,
incredible.
guitar, all of it started with kissing a girl.
Oh my God. There's a song for you right there, sir.
Yeah.
Listen, Cody, so great to see you. Congratulations. So happy to see this song doing so well and just the great year that you're already having.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the time, and I hope you have a good day.